The easiest people to humiliate are usually the ones trying hardest not to look weak, because people can feel emotional desperation instantly. The moment someone notices that your emotional state depends on their opinion, they stop seeing you as powerful.
And the moment they realize they can emotionally control your reactions, everything changes psychologically. They stop seeing you as calm, stop seeing you as emotionally grounded, and start seeing you as predictable. That's why some people can destroy your confidence with one sentence, while others remain completely untouched by disrespect. Not because they feel less pain, but because their emotions no longer belong to other people. The difference is not confidence, it's emotional dependence. Most people don't fear insults, they fear losing emotional approval. Most people think humiliation comes from insults. It doesn't. Humiliation begins the second you feel forced to defend your worth.
The moment you start explaining yourself to someone who already decided not to respect you, you slowly surrender emotional control. And most people never even notice they're doing it. The moment you desperately explain yourself, prove yourself, emotionally react, the power dynamic shifts instantly. Because emotional reactions expose emotional vulnerability. And without realizing it, you silently give the other person psychological control. That's why emotionally manipulative people provoke emotions first and attack logic second. Because humiliation is never really about words. It's about emotional power. The person controlling the emotional state of the interaction usually controls the interaction itself. And manipulative people understand this extremely well. Emotionally reactive people are predictable, and predictable people are easy to control. You can manipulate them with approval, rejection, silence, attention, validation, because their emotional state constantly depends on external reactions. Once someone controls your emotions, they slowly begin controlling your behavior too. That's why emotionally dangerous people rarely panic publicly. They rarely over-explain, rarely chase validation, rarely beg to be understood. Because calmness under pressure creates psychological intimidation. And people can feel that instantly. Most people misunderstand emotionally unbreakable individuals. They think they feel less pain. They don't. They feel rejection, embarrassment, disrespect, humiliation. The difference is, they don't emotionally surrender themselves to those feelings. Weak people absorb humiliation internally, and that changes everything psychologically. Because once you stop identifying with every insult, other people lose access to your emotional center. And without emotional access, they lose control. One disrespectful comment can ruin someone's entire day. One cold reaction can destroy their confidence. One rejection can trigger emotional panic. Why? Because deep down, their self-worth still belongs to other people. And that creates psychological vulnerability. Emotionally unbreakable people understand something terrifying. Being misunderstood is survivable. Being disliked is survivable. Even rejection is survivable. And once someone truly accepts that, other people lose the ability to emotionally threaten them. That's why calm people often intimidate emotionally chaotic people without trying. Not because they're dominant, but because emotional stability creates pressure. When someone expects panic and receives calmness instead, the entire power dynamic shifts instantly. People expect reactions. They expect anger, defensiveness, over-explaining, emotional collapse. But silence creates uncertainty.
And uncertainty makes emotionally manipulative people uncomfortable because calmness is difficult to control psychologically. The strongest people in the room are rarely the loudest. Usually, they're the calmest, the least reactive, the least desperate, the least emotionally dependent on approval. And that emotional stability quietly changes every interaction around them. The moment your self-worth stops depending on other people's opinions, their disrespect loses power over you. And that's when people realize something uncomfortable. They can no longer emotionally control you. Mind Mechanics.